Our infection rate is substantially lower than a number of states across the country, but they are extremely alarming. And frankly, all options are on the table.
Saturday, Oregon Governor Kate Brown pleaded with the state to take the pandemic seriously and wear a mask.
Here's the bottom line. Each one of us can make a difference. Each and every Oregonian can have an impact on whether their favorite coffee shop, their favorite microbrew, their favorite boutique stays open.
As COVID-19 cases continue to rise in the state, she says she's announcing new guidelines on how businesses should enforce mask mandates in counties that have them. On July 1st, Clatsop County will join 7 other Oregon counties that already have a face mask mandate in place. On Saturday, Manzanita asked to be added to the list. As for now, a statewide mask requirement is not happening, but Brown says she might reconsider if there's a significant infection increase in smaller communities. With the 4th of July holiday quickly approaching, she asked Oregonians to keep it local and help slow the spread.
We know that following the Memorial Day weekend that we saw a spike in cases. If we continue on this path, we will need to start buttoning down the economy. I don't want to do that. That's not my preferred approach. I want us all to participate. I want us all to take responsibilities for our actions, to be safe, to be kind, to be thoughtful of your neighbors and your community members and all Oregonians.